Good evening, gentlemen. Welcome to my humble abode here in Medellin. This is my final week out here in the capital of Antioquia, this fascinating part of Colombia. And in today's live, we're going to discuss this phenomena of the red pill gollum. You could have been an e-wizard, but instead you chose the red pill gollum. So obviously that is referencing the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the sequence of Tolkien books, which was subsequently made into, many years later, made into the franchise film. And you have that horrible little creature, the Gollum, yeah, who's like, hunched over, obsessing over the ring, the precious. And his consciousness is completely consumed by this. He's a scheming, soulless, addict, really. Gollum is basically a heroin addict. It's basically what he is. And this is the path that so many men have chosen or have allowed to be chosen for them. Instead of being a virtual wizard, an online wizard, they chose gollumhood instead of wizardry. It's a bit slanted, that, isn't it? Oh well. So yeah, I've got a little setup here in the balcony. So yeah, this is a massive issue these days. I'm realizing this more and more. So just to give you my backdrop, I'm Joseph. On this channel I discuss dating, relationships, a bit of history and philosophy as well, but mostly dating and relationships. And unlike probably most coaches online, I actually show you a lot of infields as well. So actually, it's not just theory, it's real practical stuff. So you can look back over my last 10 videos, you'll see 8 or 9 infields where I'm going over to girls just in the street and just striking up conversations, leading them towards a date, leading them towards a number close. It's quite a skillful process. So go check out those videos. They're definitely something you'll be able to learn from. I also show 1 or 2 infield dates as well. There's 2 infield dates on this channel. There's one on a beach about a year ago, and then there's one at Carnival about 3 or 4 months ago now. So I'm actually showing you boys theory. Sorry, I'm actually showing you boys practical stuff as well, not just theory. So yeah, that's the purpose of this channel. And as effectively the monetization of this channel is through coaching. So guys who want to improve, especially with daytime approach, they can obviously see my infield, see there's a certain level there. Get in touch with me, they book a call, and then if they're the right fit for the program, then we arrange a 3-day immersion where they go out into the field with me and actually teach them cold approach from A to Z, from start to finish. It's an amazing process. I've had some fantastic results from that coaching. I've had guys losing their virginity in their late 30s. I've had guys getting laid very quickly after the immersions. I've had guys finding girlfriends. And actually there's even been a few guys getting in touch who found girlfriends and had great dates just from the content of the channel. So that's also fantastic as well. So yeah, if you are currently at a loss, you're sick of the apps, you're not getting anywhere on the apps. Okay, so by the way, I need to actually how to use it. So anyone making any stupid comments at all, I will just ice you from the channel immediately. You're gone straight away, mate. Yeah, this channel is for intelligent men. Really, you need to have an IQ probably of above 110. Yeah, that's not stratospherically high, but it's not a complete moron, okay, to be on this channel, right? Sorry if that's elitist, but it's just the case, right? So for guys who actually choose to come and work with me, it often is quite smart guys. I've had engineers, doctors, lawyers, really successful content creators, guys working in journalism, company founders, company directors, people of that nature, quite high achieving guys who realize I've got a package to offer here. I've definitely got something, I've got a decent look to me, I'm well dressed. Surely I should be able to find a girlfriend. And realizing the construction of modern society has actually left this question, to completely it's just been completely ignored, right? The most fundamental question, which is men and women pairing off, without which there is no humanity, has been completely ignored, right? We've thrown away millennia of traditions, knowledge, etc., etc., and we've just gone, okay, well, the market will sort it out, and that's been going on for quite a while. The apps are the kind of pinnacle of the market, right? The digital market, and I don't know who runs those things, but I think there's a case for them. I actually think there's a serious case for them being put on trial for treason or for some kind of a crime against society, because if they wanted to match people successfully and get people into relationships and get families going and so on, they could, using facial recognition, facial things, and then swipe rates and so on, they could match people along attractiveness layers, right? So you have like the 9s and 10s match each other, you have the 8s and 7s match each other, you have the 5s and 6s, just in terms of physical looks, right? Because the app, let's just be real, it's mostly on physical looks, right? So you could actually match people in league with each other, which would lead to a lot more relationships, right? You can say it's a strata, but guess what? There is a hierarchy, there is a strata, right? There just is. It is what it is, okay? That's just human nature. There's a strata in everything, whether it's looks, whether it's intelligence, whether it's success, whether it's influence, there's always a strata, right? And they could match people and they would pair off. And we know what happens. The top 9s and 10 guys match obviously with like 80% of the women, and even a medium guy, a guy who's like 5 or 6, so he's not at the bottom, but he's nowhere near the top, he gets basically no matches at all. Yeah, he probably doesn't get matches with any girls he realistically finds attractive, and even guys who are like 7s and 8s, which is quite high, they're quite attractive, they're getting matched with like 4s. And if you're over 30 or under 6 foot, and I'm both of those, I'm 5'8", I'm 40 years old, you're not going to match with any attractive women in their 20s. So forget apps, they're atrocious, right? But my point now on a social level, they've actually totally distorted the human mating market. They know they're doing it, they release the statistics themselves, and yet they've not done anything to change. They've not done anything to encourage actual pair bonding and mating. Yeah, because a guy who's a 10 or a 9, he'll bang a 7, obviously, or a 6. Yeah, on a Tuesday night, it's nothing. It's a fucking snack. You know, it's a little aperitif for the real girls at the weekend. Yeah, he'll bang them, but he's not going to commit to them. We all know this. We know this story, right? If you're an attractive guy, you may have banged a girl who you know is less attractive than you. You're not going to commit to her. She doesn't offer enough. She's not bringing anything really to the table, but you're horny. Men have a lot of sex drive. And then she likes you, she catches feelings. Yeah, we know the story, right? That happens in a natural marketplace. Now we've digitalized it and we've put it on an industrial scale. So it's really, it's really not good, to be honest. And even for the guys who are successful, I would argue that it's making them passive, it's making them weak. I really do want people just to boycott apps completely. I think they deserve to be boycotted. Not just because they're actually noxious and detrimental to society. They really are. In such a key area for humanity, right? It's dating and mating. So that's a side point. I wonder if that ever happens. I know Facebook's had a few legal cases brought against it, so it is possible something like this could happen. I think it's very unkind the way that young men who are struggling in dating have been labeled as incels. I think it's very foolish of themselves to label themselves as incels. I'm an attractive guy now and don't have any issues getting women, meeting women, but I went through phases in my life in my early 20s where I struggled, and it was access, I was working a lot, and I was lonely, and it sucked, and it was tough. It's not the end of the world, but if you've got a high sex drive, which I have, high testosterone, high sex drive, then those are just years you kind of got to get through. It's like the 20 to 24 age group. And then things do tend to improve. As you hit about 25 plus, things tend to improve. But if we'd all been like me and my friends, a lot of us were fairly similar. Like there was not that many people doing super well at that age. There was a few outliers, but for the most part, people were scraping. You realize when you're like 29, 30, you're dating like a 20-year-old or a 21-year-old, right? And even a 19-year-old. When I was 32, I went out and met a girl in a club, and we started to date, and we went to the casino. It's like our second, third date. We went to the casino. I'm thinking, I wonder if she knows how old I am, because I knew she was at university, so I knew she was. Obviously, I knew she was of age, obviously. And we get to the casino, and we both show our IDs, and I'm 32, she's 19. It's like interesting reveal, age reveal there. But it just makes you think. It makes me think, like, imagine the poor 21-year-old guy who is there at 18, 19, 20, 21, who's there. He's competing against me, right? He's trying to pull this girl. He's competing against me. And it's not that I'm so much better than him, but I'm 13 years older. Yeah, I was a club promoter. I have my own business. Yeah, I've got a better look, a more mature look. You know, I'm way more experienced with women. And it's just like basically impossible to compete with for younger guys. So when I was in my 20s to 24 period, I'm sure that all these girls we were going for, they were with like 35-year-olds, 30-year-olds. Yeah, it's just the way of the world. And if we'd labeled ourselves as incels or been labeled incels, who knows, we may never have developed. We may never have developed any character. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. So many labels, and this is what I'm coming around to with the internet, right? The internet is really warping people's brains. Seriously warping people's brains. Women's, obviously, we know they're kind of being gassed up, especially Americans who were already gassed up in the 1950s, these women, yeah? Esther Vilar wrote about it. US has always been a uniquely simpish culture. I would love to go back and see when that started. I suspect, if I had to guess, I suspect it started in the 30s. I think I know why, but that's for a different video. But I suspect it started in the 30s. The process, I think, started in the 30s. I'm skeptical that the frontiersmen were simps, to be honest. So, yeah, what guys they were, man, the frontier. That's one of the most underrated periods of history, the American frontier days. It's actually, I need to read more about that. What I have read about it is fairly incredible. But yeah, that expansion out into open land and battle with the natives must have been something else to live through. But I don't want to digress onto that. The internet has been warping people's minds. We know it's how it's warped women's minds. Instagram, they're becoming at once more narcissistic and more mentally ill. And that's especially on the American side. The rest of the world is not as bad, it has to be said, but there has been a negative effect. There's been a detrimental effect. I was in Istanbul about 18 months ago with my mum and a very close friend at Christmas. We all decided to meet up together. And we went to this really nice rooftop restaurant. I think it was on Boxing Day, maybe even Christmas Day. And there's these girls going around like really posing for photos and taking all these selfies and stuff. And it looks very ingenuous and childlike and shameless. And my mum was looking at it, and she's a lady in her 60s now. I think she's quite a classy lady. My mum in some respects, although not totally. Like she's a kind of Irish, like little mini Irish woman who, well, she's English, but she's Irish white. But she definitely is from a much more conservative time, working class, but very, very conservative. And she just couldn't believe her eyes looking at these young girls. She's just like, are they not embarrassed? This is just so embarrassing and narcissistic. You know, there's no humility. It's just pure narcissism. It's a really repulsive characteristic, and I've never really been able to get over it. You know, I've done like a few photo shoots and stuff myself for this channel and for social media. I've never been able to get over the narcissism. It's a disgusting quality. It's a really disgusting quality. I'll never accept anything else. But that's the way of the world, right? That's the way of the world. So that's been affecting the women. A good indicator with a woman, she's got an interesting personality, is that she has rejected social media. Yeah, the girls that I mess around with, the girls that I'm with, in most cases, like post nothing on social media, basically nothing at all. And these are not outcast girls. These are more attractive than most of the girls who are attention begging on social media. It's really interesting. They're just like, I'm not into it. What's the point? I'm not going to be a fucking social media star. And if you're not, so what's the fucking point? These days, the millennials are very infected. You know, I see millennial women in their 30s and 40s, average sixes, posing as if, it's really embarrassing, to be honest. And the scary part is these are intelligent women as well. Some of these women are intelligent. They're like highly intelligent, and they're still doing the same retarded, attention begging, childish nonsense. Yeah, it's fucking pathetic, to be honest. People who've grown up and only known this world, I just feel sorry for you. You've just never known the humanity, basically. You've never actually existed as a normal human, like every other human in human history. It's pretty depressing. But let's talk about on the male side. On the male side, yeah, there's a bit of the influencer stuff that's affected guys, but I think the male side has more been narrative-led. Men consume a lot of massive amounts of YouTube. Men are like 90% of YouTube, and so they've consumed all of this red pill knowledge, right? And without context, without it being in any way explained, or without it being contextualized for them in the real world. So things like hypergamy and so on, and all of this stuff from the red pill. Again, the first thing I'll say about it is mostly American content producers, and mostly talking about the American sexual marketplace, which is unique. There is no other sexual marketplace or culture that has any parallel to the US. It's a unique, frankly, freak show that has no parallel to the rest of the world. So, and even what is being kind of discussed in the US is not really the whole story for the US either. But in the rest of the world, it should basically be discounted. It should basically be discounted. There really is, let's say, for example, the hypergamy thing, like women want an attractive guy, it's just your turn, bro. This is so stupid because women will prioritize a relationship over short-term sex. And it's just a basic knowledge, right? Women will prioritize a relationship over short-term sex in most normal cases, certainly if they're over about 22, 23 years old. Yeah, and even younger than that, they'll still probably prioritize a relationship. So stupid people, I just say anything stupid. I'm warning you, if you say anything stupid, you're just off. You're off, dude. Bye. Not even hide, dude. No. Make a contribution. Right. So, yeah, women will prioritize typically relationships over short-term sex. When you're in a relationship with a woman, you're given a good sex, you're given a good hard sex, you're given the old smack on the arse, the pull on the hair. You're the man basically making decisions. You're showing some leadership with her. You've got some emotional engagement with her as well. In most cases, she's not even considering other men, because she's so focused on you, like how to keep you. This guy, he consumes all my attention. Women's love is very consumptive, right? And even quite smothering at times, but it's very consumptive. So no other guy has a chance. If you have like if you're doing things right and you are basically a masculine guy, she won't be able to countenance another man. She won't. And that would be about 80% of normal, that's like 80% of women, normal women, yeah? There is maybe a small 20% who really they're kind of doomed because they just need something, they've had some kind of a trauma, or they're just naturally, genetically disposed to promiscuity or needing a lot of male validation. Those types of women are what you would typically, historically, you just call them the village bike, right? Those types of women, they've always been there, right? But the 80% really, in basically everywhere in the world, is going to prioritize a relationship over short-term sex. And they get probably more out of relationships than men do. Yeah? Women aren't naturally these, they're not naturally these amazingly dynamic, freedom-loving, explorers and so on. Maybe a little bit in their 20s, but that just doesn't last. I've been on the road for 6 years. I've been traveling for 22 years, and I see, like the guy living above me here is an American guy. I see men of all ages all over the world. Yeah, you're nomads, you're explorers. It's in us, it's in our DNA. There's a lot of men like this. I see very few men. I see very few women who fit that description. Very, very few. Yeah, most women who travel, they need like their family. They need a bunch of people with them. They just don't have it, right? To go out there and just fuck it, let's go on an adventure. Yeah, especially solo. It's not in them, right? So a man, for example, me, for example, to go and shack up and be with a girl and live with her, I would actually have to make big sacrifices because my nature is towards freedom and pursuit of excitement, etc. Pursuit of other women as well, but just the whole freedom, right? A woman's not really like that. Most women are not really built like that. I think there's a bit of they like to move. I think at a young age, a lot of women, they like to move to where the action is a little bit, like early 20s to 20 to 25. But they move to like a big city. That's what you'll notice, right? They flutter in like butterflies to a big city because they have to make it young. To be honest, they ain't gonna make anything in their 40s. They need to make it all young. They need to go to a good place, get a good job, and find a good guy, and they've got to do that before 30, and realistically, probably before 28. Yeah, so it's a different game for them, and I think they're wired for it. They mature very fast. They realistically, in my experience, a 17, 18-year-old is about as mature as like a 27-year-old man in terms of women. So they mature pretty fast. So they kind of know, right? When I used to be a club promoter, I had girls who were 18 working as my promo girls, and it's just interesting. Like they were like getting with like 45-year-old men. They knew how to promote, they knew how to fucking manipulate, and they knew how to do the whole thing. Psychologically, just not logical in many ways, but psychologically sophisticated in certain ways, like social ways, right? And so yeah, basically women are really more cut out for relationships than men. I think you see this a little bit on like some of the older women in the US, like 30s and 40s. Now they're kind of saying, well, actually in my 20s, I was kind of faking it. I was kind of trying to play up to the image. Very weird. It's such a weird culture, man. Such a weird fucking culture. Spectacular show of something. We'll see what happens in the next 100. I would love to, like, if there is a heaven, or let's hope I go to heaven. If there is a heaven, I would love to just sit there with some popcorn and just watch this whole thing play out for like the next 200 years and just go, what's going to happen to somewhere like the US? What's going to happen to it? Is it just going to be, it could be like 100 years, it could just be only Amish people left, right? Only Amish and Mormons, because no one else had any children. That could be something quite interesting. Europe becomes Islamic and then eventually has a massive civil war. And you have an apartheid state. Fuck knows what's going to happen in Arabia. I don't know. I've heard one guy say he thinks they're all going to turn gay. I don't know why he thinks that. See what China does. Fuck knows. China could completely implode. It's conceivable China could completely implode. We don't know. But yeah, just to get back on topic here. You see it online, these older women saying, I was kind of faking it in my 20s, I was just trying to be cool, basically. Really, I just want a boyfriend. And, I'm lonely. I'm sad and lonely. It's a cold game for an older woman, let me tell you that. It's a lonely, miserable, cold fucking game if you're alone. Yeah, I've been around the dance scene a lot, salsa and so on. A lot of these women in their 50s, they come into salsa and they're trying to find a guy. That's like the main motivation for going. And I've had a few crying on my shoulder, like there's a social night and like just having a drink or something and then just chat to them a little bit. They just fucking burst into tears on my shoulder. I'm like, fucking hell. I think I'm the right person for this, love. I've got no sympathy. I've got zero sympathy for you at all. It's obviously alcohol related, so they're obviously drunk. And that's not once or twice. That's like a good 4 or 5 times that's happened. I've been on the salsa scene for about 10 years. And it's always women in their 50s, actually good-looking women who are really well put together. Some of them, like, I remember there was one woman, she had a business and everything, and like super had everything. She was fucking lonely. She said it to me twice. I think I saw her a couple of times. She broke down twice. Fucking hell. I don't know, I shouldn't have engaged. I was just having a conversation, and then the next thing I know, she's in tears. So, yeah, it's a cold game for an older woman, man. It's a very cold game. And yeah, I don't know what happens with this one. You're not going to persuade women like through reason to come back to the table as in the US, American guys. So you're going to have to retake control of your culture if you want to. And that's going to come through essentially through force of politics, through force of the legal system, and also through being more forceful as well, giving women negative feedback, holding them to account from a young age, no more simping, blah, 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 right? Land of the simps. Being hard on your daughters as well. The best thing you can do as a father is be hard on your fucking daughters. The best thing you can do for her and her future husband and her future family and everybody is to be damn hard on her. It's the best thing you can do. Cultures where the men are hard on the daughters produce wife-worthy women. Cultures where the men princess the daughters, what do you think fucking happens? What do you think the logical result of that is? Yeah, so that's that culture. That's a solution I've never heard discussed in the red pill either. The red pill guys just get angry and just complain. And so there's just all this misinformation that women don't want relationships, it's just your turn, they're all sluts. There's a guy on my channel talking about virgins, how they're all pre-used or something like that, and it's just like, dude, there are millions of virgins all over the world. I've cold approached a ton of virgins. There was a girl 2.5 years ago. I dated like 3-4 dates. She was a virgin, a Christian virgin. I've honestly dated at least 3 virgins, at least 3. And this is from age 28 to 38. And I don't know, maybe more than that, I don't know. And yeah, normally I give up because I'm just like, I'm not really bothered about the whole virginity thing. The girl I'm with at the moment, she's only slept with 2 other guys apart from me. And that's like, they were like essentially one-off experiences, just to try sex when she was in her early 20s. She's now in her mid-20s. So I'm 99.9% of her sexual experiences with me, and basically all of it. And I met her through daytime approach. Yeah? And you can hear it I can see it in people's language as well. These cretinoids using language that they've seen on the internet, like, oh, cold approach is girl coded. Well, where did you hear that, mate? Is that your phrase, coded? No, you heard it on the internet. Yeah? You don't have critical faculties. You're just repeating what you said on the internet. There's nothing girl. It's one of the most self-confident masculine things you can possibly do, which is to go over to this girl in the street, stop her, say, excuse me, you look gorgeous today, get into a conversation with her. Yeah? It's actually so, the issue with cold approach is it can be too bold. It can actually be too masculine. It's actually too fucking intimidating for the girl. Yeah. So sometimes in my intros to the girl, I'm very, very gentle because I don't want to. It's already bold enough, yeah, and they're already surprised enough. I don't want to actually intimidate her, especially if it's just in the daytime, right? So it is literally almost by definition the most masculine thing you can do, right? Women by their nature, guys want like the girls to approach them. It's never going to fucking happen. Get that fantasy of equality out of your head. Equality does not exist. It's just a word. Yeah, just like lots of things are words. The phlogiston used to be a word. Have you heard of that word, phlogiston? Used to be a word. There was this concept in science. Something will set fire more easily, set on fire more easily if it has a lot of phlogiston inside. Yeah, this was a serious science physics textbook thing in the 1800s. Yeah, the wood burns really easily because, boys and girls, it has a lot of phlogiston inside. Yeah, your water over here doesn't burn because it has no phlogiston. Yeah, it was a word, it was a concept, it was complete fucking bullshit, but it was just a word, right? So all of these words people use, coded or blah, blah, blah. There was a guy talking about pre-owned box. I know exactly I know exactly the YouTuber who's getting some push at the moment, who uses this phrase, pre-owned box. He's a guy, and he's an older American black guy, just talking about life in the US, right, the dating market and so on, talking about how guys need to raise their self-esteem. He's actually quite a good YouTuber, but he uses that phrase, and then people come onto my channel and say it, right? So people are just brainwashed by the internet. They don't actually think. Yeah? They don't actually relate to the world. Yeah? They don't actually interact with the fucking world. Put the screen down, go out, walk. Challenge for you, right? Put the screen down for a month. A month. Do not look at the screen for a fucking month, yeah? Stop all content for a month and just go and interact and have conversations. Yeah, have conversations with the old lady at the shop, the people at Starbucks, have conversations with the guys at the bus stop, have conversations with your next door neighbor, start doing a few approaches, giving girls a few compliments, right? Yeah. You'll find you live in a different world, yeah? And this is what guys who actually get it, the types of guys who typically come to work with me, they're already guys who get it, to be honest. They're not this type of, chronically online, takes the word of like all of the red pill guys as gospel. If that's you, realistically, you are cooked. And like, I'm trying to pull you out of that on this video. That's what I'm trying to do here, trying to pull a few guys out of that. Yeah, because there's guys who can, it's obviously spreads all over the internet, that's the problem. So even quite good guys, there's a risk that even quite good guys can go down these rabbit holes, and before you know it, they fucking overdose on red pills, right? So, yeah, that's the purpose of this video, really. And I would just encourage you to exist more in the real world. If you're anyone you can see around you who is, let's say, confident, popular with people, self-confident, got high self-worth, maybe a guy who's got an attractive girlfriend, or you've seen him around quite a bit and you see he's always good at flirting with the girls. Interact with these people, gravitate towards these people. This is actually what you want to need. This is what you need to be around, yeah, more and more. Life is to be lived, man. Life is out there in the streets and in the cafes and bars, and that's where it is to be lived. It's not to be lived online. It really isn't. I know I make content. It's weird to make content about getting people offline, but there's no other way really to do it. If I could go around speaking at public events, that would actually be my preference. That would be my preference for getting these messages out. But yeah, it's basically, the online world basically made men, you're consuming lies that are not true and that make you more depressed, angry, and ineffective. Yeah? And even by big influencers like Tate, I think Tate's done some, obviously he's got the big case at the moment. I think overall, he was a battering ram for men. I think he was a battering ram that was necessary. But a lot of stuff he said was total garbage. You don't need to be big. We've never seen him interacting with women, first of all. We've never actually seen him do an approach. Like, what's he like talking to girls? Is he actually good? Yeah. Could I learn anything from him? The way he obviously makes money is purely through social media. He doesn't have any conventional businesses at all. If you look him up on Company's House, you'll see his conventional business record. It's not that great. He had a window fitting company for about 3 years, which didn't turn a profit. So, he's a good influencer, and he's like done some good. But a lot of what someone like he would advocate is like all this stuff that makes him look good, right? You've got to be tall. Well, it's weird that he's tall. You've got to be rich. Well, it's weird that he became rich by projecting wealth, etc., etc. He doesn't, it's just interesting, right? So he's an interesting example. I wouldn't really take too much from somebody like that in terms of dating and relationships. I really wouldn't. It was talking about guys having like multiple wives and things, like, good luck with that. Good luck with that, mate. If you think that's a realistic fucking plan, you think that's a realistic life plan, is to have like 4 wives or like 8 wives or something and like 20 children. Yeah, what could possibly go wrong with that plan, right? Yeah, I mean, ironically, it's the kind of plan that, well, it's not the kind of plan, but it's what like lower class people do in like the ghettos, or like, you know, the rundown council estates in England and whatever, the US. And it's the thing that holds them back as well. It's a big thing that holds them back, yeah. Because children need resources, need attention, they need time, they need money, they need effort. If you've got like 20 of them with all these different women, they're not, each child is going to be a lesser version. Yeah, it's like, would you want 3 children who are like 8, 9 out of 10 in terms of development from one woman, and have a good family, a good strong family, and be a good father, a strong father as well? Or do you want to have like 20 children who are all 4 out of 10 and they're tapped in the head because they've never really seen their dad, and they end up with like a mentally ill mom, and fuck knows what happens next, yeah? So it's not just a numbers game, it's not just quantity, it's quality, right? And so yeah, he's an example, but there's all the other guys in the manosphere, right? And I see some coaches online, and I really do just think, I mean, I see some of these guys and I'm just like, even morphologically, like physiologically, they look quite bizarre people. Like, they obviously have, I'm looking at a lot at the moment at things like physiognomy, like all these different schools, the Arabic school, Chinese school, the French school, and it's quite interesting. And like some of these, it's basically like some people, you can see it in their face, like the alarm bells ring just looking at their face, right? It's an interesting, I think it's a very plausible theory, that stuff, and not for the reasons people think as well. Basically because of Donald Hoffman's, I'll come into this in a different live maybe, but Donald Hoffman's thesis that humans are essentially, the base reality is literally non-material, is consciousness itself. That's the base reality. He's got a very it's called Donald Hoffman. He's a perceptual scientist. It's not woo-woo. It's actually based on evolutionary theory and evolutionary game theory as well. He's run all these models with it. And as it turns out, you're looking at me on screen now. You're seeing my face. You're seeing this background. As it turns out, it's very, if evolution is correct, it's impossible that you are seeing base reality. So whatever you're seeing with me, this white guy with a beard and so on, it's impossible that that is the base reality of what is here, of what, you know, I physiologically am. It's such an interesting thing, right? So you either have to get rid of evolution as a theory, or you have to accept that we do not commune with base reality. It's such a wild thing to think about. So yeah, Donald Hoffman, he's a perceptual scientist. Go check him out. Yeah, Donald Hoffman, his most famous crossover book into mainstream science is called something like The Reality Delusion: How Evolution Pulled the Wool Over Our Eyes, or something like that. But you'll see the title. It's his only real crossover thing. I've read some of his other papers as well, and there's about 3 that are accessible. Some of them, it gets very, very, very tough to follow because he's going into like the maths of the human eye, you know, so like the maths of perception and so on. It gets pretty insane, right, as you go further and further into his work. But this is a crossover book that he did, and when he makes the case, it's very hard. It's very, like, if you follow these things, you're a curious person. I know there are some doubts over evolution though. So there is a counter argument to Hoffman would be, actually evolution is not the whole story, and it's maybe a thesis that it's being debated quite a lot actually. So that's a whole other question. The reason it's basically being debated is there are parts of evolution that are based on the idea of mutation, and mutation basically never produces a viable organism. So like if a human has a genetic mutation, they're going to come out with severe difficulties. They usually don't even last like the first year or 2 of life. They're very lucky, and that's with a tiny mutation. So a mutation large enough to create another organism, they don't even happen realistically. And if they occasionally happens to even a mutation of like 0.01% of the genome, normally that thing dies. So the idea of genetic mutation being a driver for shaping species is questionable. Some of the stuff, the selection, like what's it called, like natural selection, bottlenecks and so on, that is pretty well founded, to be honest. So that side of evolution is well founded, but the mutation side not so much. And that's been proved by some mathematicians as well. So that's a whole interesting area. I spent half my life on deep dives, to be honest with you. Aside from doing cold approach and being a club promoter and having a business, my free time, I don't know, I have a restless mind. I don't know what people do. I can't just watch TV or something, or watch like Netflix. I have to just like, is evolution actually true? Let me go and study it for like 6 months or a year. Yeah, so those are the deep dives that I do. I don't know how I got onto that. But I mean, yeah, we can actually circle back to women here as well. The relationship market is from a purely evolutionary point of view. Yeah, men and women have a dynamic between them. Women have a sex drive, right? Men have a sex drive. Men have a desire for lineage. Women have a desire for protection and so on. Women naturally desire men as well. Once you start to tap into their limbic system, to their emotional brain, into their sexual brain, you basically bypass their cortex effectively. So like, once you're actually in a relationship with women, it's actually really easy. Especially if you know evolutionary psychology, it's fucking easy. Yeah, getting the numbers, getting the contacts, getting things rolling. That's actually the tougher part, because that's more where social skills, setting, and so on, that all kind of comes into play. Right? So that's what I help guys with on this channel. Yeah, if you're struggling, go check out my recent infields. There's another infield coming out tomorrow where I think I close the girl, get her number in 53 seconds from the start of the video to me saying, hey Jab, what's up? Let's go. So it can all be done. You know, I'm nothing special. There's a guy commenting on one of my videos recently saying, oh yeah, he commented saying, I'm too old. I'm 37, something. I'm 36. I'm like, dude, I'm 40. I'm closing girls half my age. It's not a big deal. Lots of younger girls, lots of younger women in their very early 20s, even like 19 years old. A lot of them like older guys, right? A ton of them do. Probably most, to be honest with you. So 36 is not too old. As I say, I'm 40, right? And I'm showing it on camera. Then he's saying his skin's not right or something. I'm like, dude, you're 36, you're not 70. It's ridiculous, right? And people just need to own up to it. They're afraid of rejection. They're afraid of rejection. Fine. We're all afraid when we first go to do our first cold approaches. No one is like loving it. You know, some of the best guys that I know, guys in my masterminds, who are just monsters. You know, just like absolute monsters, like I am. They were like almost physically throwing up before they went out. They went to do an immersion. They almost were throwing up before they went out. Yeah, some people get really nervous before. So it's no big deal. And even really good students who are super grounded, who are super confident, unless they're experienced, I've never seen anyone who had no nerves, to be honest. The only guy I've seen who had no nerves at all, he was really seasoned with cold approach. He came to train with me to go from like a 7 to a 9 or a 10. He actually saw me out in the street in Belgrade, and he saw me and my crew. I think he wanted part of it. We were sort of, we could see there's different guys in Belgrade doing a little bit of daytime approach, and some of them were good, some of them were not so good, and I kind of didn't really want to associate too much, because basically, if guys look to me like they're using tactics, there's one guy, he was almost intimidating to women. I don't think he really knew it, but he was almost intimidating them from the open, and I was like, I don't like that, dude. I don't want any part of that. I don't want to associate with that because it's going to reflect badly on me. I just don't like it. I don't like to see it. Like if a guy approached my sister or mom or girlfriend and he was respectful and whatever, and it was a yes, or if it was my girlfriend, obviously I would She's hopefully going to say no, right? She's going to say no, but yeah. If it's like, let's say it's my sister, I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, he seems nice. You know, you should exchange details. You know, have some contact. Yeah, I'd actually think it was good. But if someone came and they were doing stuff, I'm like, that's way too fucking. These are not tactics that I want to see, and that's fucking intimidating, and it's strange. And so there was one guy in particular who's like that. So I just kind of avoided the whole group. And so, but there was a guy who was in there, and he'd seen me and my guys on the street. We were just demolishing day after day, right? Totally different. It sounds arrogant, but we were a totally different level. It was totally different. There was levels and levels, right? And there was a few guys who were good. He was one of them in that group, and he said to me, like, I really want to train with you. And we went out. We just did a 1-day training session, and he was all. And I already knew he was all right. He was actually even better than I thought. So he went from like a 7 to a 9. Where he is now, like, he's basically, yeah, he doesn't need to know anything else now. Absolutely solid. So we've got some fantastic. We've got some good questions in here, right? Kel, the news is lies, online is lies. What's left? I agree with you. It's tragic. Yeah, the news is obviously lies. It's worse than lies. It's mostly propaganda. I mean, we're in a weird place right now, you know, as humanity, like actually realizing, fuck, news sources that I trusted in the past were just fucking propaganda. And yeah, it's dark, man. And then online is lies. It's not all lies, because I don't lie on my channel. I really don't. Yeah, so I pride myself on that. You can't lie on, like, for example, infields. I don't make up stories, right? I don't need to, right? And I'm fairly, I come across as confident, but I'm fairly humble about certain things. Like, I talk about dating and relationships, and I've had a lot of experience. But there's guys who I know who were nailing different girls every single day for months on end. And I know because I've lived with them. And this was in the height of my rampaging years, right? 28 to 32. And I'm like, I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, having my times, having my peak times, so to speak. But I'm like, this guy's doing it every single day. So there's a kind of like a level of humility as well, whatever. And that's not the type of life I would even want to live. But I don't know if I could, even if I'd wanted to, I don't know if I could have achieved that level of success. Maybe now with cold approach, to be honest, because you can just, once you know cold approach, like daytime, it just opens up so much, because you can just go out to malls, you go out to streets, and you can just rack up so many numbers. Now I'm 40 years old, I'm just too old to care though now, but I'm imagining like, wow, if I'd known this at 25, could have done some damage. So yeah, my stories and relationship and stuff are just genuine stories. The guys I associate with, who sometimes crop up on this channel, they're genuine guys. I've seen them in the field as well. You know, they're straightforward guys. And there are people online who are genuine as well, absolutely. But I mean, what are we talking? 10% maybe, I don't know, 20%. A lot of the creators as well, the wealth creators, the wealth coaches, they're fake. A lot of the relationship coaches with big accounts, many of them are fake, dude. Many of them are fake. It's depressing. If you can't see a guy's infields, I would say dismiss them, really. You should have infields, yeah? So, yeah, that's on the relationship side. And then on the wealth side, I've started to really discern. If someone speaks too smugly, I think they're fake. Gary Vee, I think he's fucking fake as fuck. Hormozy, I think he's fake as well. It's all this big online circle jerk. And like, let's say Gary Vee, like, he ran his parents' wine shop until he was in his mid-30s. Does that really sound like someone who's successful to you? I think he got lucky that social media came around. He's made a career out of that. And then Hormozy, to me, there's just something off with that guy. I just watch him. He's too smug. The answers are too smug and contained. And I think he does have some wisdom. I think he's a very good social media guy, good personality, good logical guy. Like, stuff with his wife as well. There's something strange going on there, dude. So I think they kind of, you can do it on social media. You can basically fake your life get people enrolling in your courses, build a name, get the money in, start to invest in stuff, and you can actually become rich having started off with pure bullshit. I mean, to an extent, that's what Tate did, to be honest. So yeah, they can do it, and it's a skill in of itself. It's a skill in of itself. I know quite a few online business. I know tons of online business owners now. But before that, most of the people I knew were just normal business owners, you know. And so I kind of know what a normal business owner looks like. I don't need to go to the online space to find out what a business owner looks like. So yeah, it's a very weird place. I agree. And then like my account's only a small account, you know. So these massive creators, there's you're rewarded for retention, for driving more retention, right? Being more interesting. You're not actually rewarded for being truthful and helpful. You're just rewarded for the more views the more interesting you are, the more crazy you are, the more extreme you are, the more views you're gonna get. There was a dating coach who recently just quit. I've seen a few of his videos over the years. He wasn't so much on my own radar, but he was certainly like someone I'd look over at what he was doing and go, yeah, that guy looks very respectable. Like everything he's saying is basically true. There's not enough infields for me, but there were a few from like 10 years ago. And he's just quit because he's in his 40s, he's just had a child. And he's like, yeah, although I'm passionate about this business, it's not making enough money because I can't break through anymore. It's just all red pill now. It's all AI fucking red pill and fakes. And I can't break through and I can't be fake. So he quit. It's interesting. And he was a genuine, I forget the guy's name. He says, yeah, he's gone to go and work in AI. So yeah, let's get to the next question here, because this was a good question. What about after the close? How do you get rid of them without hurting their feelings or wanting a relationship? Yeah. So so if we're talking about a number close, okay, obviously you can just rack up number closes for practice. Obviously, you don't need to. You just get the number, go on to the next one, on to the next thing, and just get more skilled at getting numbers. And at a certain point, you go, right. Well, I know I can get leads now. I know I can get leads. And that puts you above like 95% of men who can't get a lead to save their lives. So once you can do that, you're good. Women don't give a shit. If you don't message them from a text, or if you don't message them, you know, like things peter out, they're not going to care at all, right? So it's that type of a close. Then you start to go on dates. And again, you just date a girl, go for a coffee, go for a drink, and you just decide, not really sure. It's no big deal. They've got plenty of suitors. They're fine. They're getting. If she's a hot girl, she's getting attention. So you don't need to worry. And then the question you ask here is closing, as in having sex with a girl. Yeah, banging the girl. This is a really interesting one. I got a friend Nelson who's from Angola. He's an Angolan. He's a doorman. He's a roofer. Got a massive scar across his eye. He's the coolest guy, man. He's got a life similar to mine. He's got a very international life between UK, Portugal, Angola, Brazil. He travels all over. I miss him actually. I've not spoken to that guy for ages. I need to see if I can find his contact again. He would say to me, I spoke to him once. I was like, dude, I've got this girlfriend, an ex-girlfriend, who is stalking me. To the point, so I came off social media for about 2-3 years. She's stalking all my social media, even my professional social media. She's messaging my professional business accounts. She's messaging ex-girlfriends. She's messaging girls I know. She's messaging boyfriends of ex-girlfriends. Yeah, completely fucking mentally deranged. And I always remember Nelson going, he's like, mate, just give it a tip, mate. You shouldn't have given her the whole thing. Yeah, don't give her the whole dick. It was interesting. Like he would, in his doorman days, he'd have all these like hot Spanish girls. They'd all give him their numbers and stuff. They're freaks, the Spanish girls. And he was like, yeah, he was like genuinely, I don't know. He was just like, yeah, I just put half of it in. I just do what I've got to do. I don't put the whole thing in. And I thought that's such an interesting angle. Which is, it takes a lot, that's like next level self-confidence where you're like, it's next level abundance where you're like, I'm actually intentionally going to be shit in bed with this girl. I mean, that's an interesting thing, right? So intentionally be shit in bed. Just get what you need to get your orgasm, and then bounce. It's an interesting one. What I would say with this one, so like that was his angle, which I thought was a very interesting one. Maybe I've done that once or twice, to be honest. I think like a lot of guys are quite egotistical. We want to be quite good in bed. We want to see the girl's reaction and stuff. So that could be quite a hard one to do. But I think I may have done it once or twice last year when I think about it. The other one as well, in terms of sex, is don't sleep with her, I would say, more than 3 times. Preferably once, to be honest. But don't sleep, definitely not more than 3 times. 5, you're already going to start to go into, I'm seeing this person. That's just the way it's going to go. So I'd recommend just one and done. Recommend 1 and done, maybe 1 to 3. That's what fucks girls up. Like when people like you're shagging a girl for like 6 months, a year, I don't think that's wise. I think that's wise. Unless you mean to have something consistent with her, and especially if you're a younger guy, maybe not monogamous, but at least consistent. But yeah, I understand why guys do it, because they just want to keep the sex going, because like it's hard to get sex for them to begin with, and then they get some, it's like, oh, finally I've got some fucking pussy. You want to keep it around. I get it. But that's going to give you problems on the back end of the type you just described, where the girl's getting feelings, she wants a relationship. Yeah, girls can have one night stands, they can have 2 or 3 bangs, and they love it, whatever, and they can move on. You're shagging a girl for 6 months every week, and you're expecting her not to have feelings. I'd say she's probably pathological if she doesn't, right? Like think about female genetics and biology, right? If a girl's getting fucked by the same guy for 6 months, in nature, where there's no pill, there's no abortion, there's no condoms, in nature, what does that mean? It means she's gonna probably have his child. So she should pair bond to him, biologically. She should. Yeah. It's actually bizarre if she doesn't. It's kind of strange if she doesn't. Yeah. It's more like a hypersexual type of woman who can pull it off. It's not normal behavior. What I found with girls is some of the smart ones, like if they know I'm not into it as a relationship, they'll bounce after like 2 or 3 bangs, and they bounce of their own accord, because they're reading me going, I don't think this guy's really relationship material, and they bounce. Not all girls will do that though. And so for girls who will just keep seeing you innocently, you need to knock it after 2, 3 bangs. Maybe, honestly, probably after 1. So that's my honest advice. That's not advice people want to hear. It's not advice I wanted to hear in the past. I wanted to have multiple situationships, micro relationships going on for years and years and 6 months and whatever. Of course that ends in fucking chaos and destruction. It's human nature. Yeah. So, but I understand why guys do it, because I did it myself. But I think also because it's a combination of like, although I had access to sex with women, it wasn't unlimited, right? It wasn't that abundant. It was like the clubs, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, maybe the apps a little bit, or a girl I met in the cafe now and then. But it wasn't like I can just go into the street and generate options any day. So I had something, and so when I got something good, you want to keep it going for a little while. Yeah, but that can end up toxic. There's also narcissism as well, where you want the girl to fall in love with you and stuff like that. Like, just be honest. Like, you want that feeling of her falling for you. A lot of guys have that as well. I definitely have had that. But then it's like, yeah, but I don't really want you. I just want you to fall for me. It's fucked up. Women do it as well, right? It's just human nature. It's a human ego. So you've got to start to disattach from your ego a little bit. Just either give her shit sex, bang her once, or bang her no more than 3 times. You go more than that, you're on your own, I'm afraid. She's going to catch feelings. You're maybe going to catch feelings as well. But yeah, that's a really good question. It's a really good question. Now actually what I do, and this is I was out here with my wing, he's going to appear on a podcast with me in a few days time on this channel. So we were going out doing approach every day. We were filming each other as well. He's much younger than me, and it's really interesting because different ages, different profiles, but even slightly different approaches. I'll say 90% the same, but somewhat different. And we basically get very similar results. We've had an interesting discussion, and we're just talking about how, you know, after you get some more experience, you've dated more, you've had sex with different girls and so on, you start to see what comes after sex. And what happens is you start to see that before you've even had sex with the girl. You start to read it. You're like, yeah, this girl, we've got a good emotional connection already. If I bang her, she's going to start to like me. So I just keep her as a friend. Yeah. You start to friend zone women, basically. And you start to wonder, is it worth my investment to go just to try and bang this girl today? Like, there's a bunch of girls, I'm leaving Medellin on Saturday, and there's a bunch of girls in my phone book. I just can't be bothered to pursue them. There's no, what's the point, just for a shag? I don't care, I'm not bothered. I'm really not bothered. It's not worth it to me. It's not worth the time. I'd rather just be doing a live. I'd rather just be even practicing my approaches. I'd rather just be working in my business, going to the gym. But that's quite a high level of abundance you need to get to. You need to really be doing hundreds and hundreds of approaches. You get on dozens and dozens and dozens of dates. You have some, you bang some girls, whatever, and some of them start to get attached, blah, blah, blah. They bring problems to you sometimes, like, you know, they start to ask you for, I don't know, like time, even occasionally ask you for money, but mostly ask you for time and stuff you don't really want to give. And you go, I kind of know what comes next. I'm just gonna dodge it. I'm good. I'm gonna go this way. Yeah, you're great. I'm gonna go this way. So, yeah, that's what happens with time, man. That's what happens with time. It's amazing that it's relatively straightforward for a guy with good social skills, who's fairly in shape, who looks presentable. They just apply themselves in this. It's very straightforward for guys now to get girlfriends. The whole internet brainwashing is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Most guys are not even trying. People talk about the stats. Most guys are just not even trying. They're not even trying. And the few guys are trying mostly don't know what they're doing because no one ever told them, no one ever helped them. Their dads didn't explain anything. Women will never explain anything to you. Like, never ever go to a female dating coach, ever. Don't ever listen to them. Like, there's one online, she's called something like My BDSM Life or something. She's the only one who's truthful. She's the only one who's truthful. Yeah, go and check out her channel. There's a famous video of hers where she talks about the presence and primal energy that all men have. And even if she's rejected guys, she's always felt like, this is a fucking man in front of me. Yeah, so I think guys can feel demasculated if the girl just doesn't accept their approach. Women are senescent, which meaning still. They don't move towards mating. Yeah, it's basically in history, it's something like 15% of women died in childbirth. So getting pregnant, having sex for a woman is literally almost the equivalent of potentially dying historically. So somewhere in their biology, there's more hesitancy, right? Unless the guy's just so their dream guy. But most of the time, and even if the guy is their dream guy, to be honest, yeah, good looking guys can sometimes have it worse. I'll circle around back to that point in a minute. But you know, there's no women going out cold approaching men. Just doesn't happen, doesn't exist, right? Their game is really how to keep a guy. That's really woman game, yeah. And yeah, it's something that guys shouldn't lose confidence. If you get rejections, if you get girls who flake and so on, that's their prerogative, man. If you get her pregnant, she's carrying your scion for the next 9 months, right? Her scion is coming out of her vagina, right? It's breaking her in half, yeah? Your bastard sperm is basically a fucking bioweapon against her body, right? So they're entitled on their side to make their choices and be hesitant, right? That's fine, but don't get discouraged and think that doesn't make you a man, yeah? Self-confidence has to come from within. It can't be taken from women. It can't come from how much money you're making. It can't come from how jacked you are. Nothing external, nothing in your appearance can ever really give you self-esteem. It can't. Yeah, you can go try and be a millionaire and get self-esteem. It won't work. It won't work. Go try and be super jacked. Get self-esteem, self-confidence. It doesn't actually fucking work. Those superficial things just give you moment to moment little boosts here and there, but you always come back down to whatever your normal self-esteem level is. It's impossible to generate self-esteem in those ways because it's always externally measured, which means it's fragile. Self-esteem has to come from within. It has to come from inside you, and it has to be irrational. It has to be completely irrational. It can't be from, as I say, anything else. This is a huge thing. I did a short on this today. I don't know if I'm going to put it out or not. I don't know if it's good enough, but self-esteem must be irrational. And this is something I think even guys that I know who I respect a lot, I think they haven't even grasped this quite yet. They're still measuring their self-esteem based on looks, money, how much girls validate them, and so on. That's very fragile. It's actually a very bad way to live. It's got to come from inside you, and it's got to be impermeable. Yeah, impermeable. Women can't touch it, money can't touch it, how you're physically looking, nothing can touch it. Yeah, it must be irrational. If it's rational, then it's not self-esteem. It must be irrational. That's an interesting point. And just as a side effect, women seem to be very drawn to that as well, regardless of how you look. It's really interesting. I think like the psychological sensitivity of women is interesting in that regard. Just to circle back around to guys who are good looking as well. So this is another thing in the red pill. Oh, if he's good looking, yeah, he's motherfuckers. Like, oh, if the guy flirts and he's good looking. No, dude. Good looking guys have got it very hard. Good looking guys maybe have got it even harder. They maybe got it even harder. Yeah, let me tell you why. Good looking guys will get tested more by women. They'll get tested more because, like, is this guy mentally what he looks like from an evolutionary standpoint? Like, is he mentally the man he looks like? And if the answer is no, which it often is because of the way guys basically fucking raised these days, yeah, then he fails. And there's so many good looking guys got abysmal dating lives, and then they get into a relationship, and if they're not leading, if they're not basically pimping the woman, they're not being commanding, they're not basically being the daddy in the relationship, the girl ends up hating him, and she'll hate him more. She'll hate the model more. Why? Because it's like, motherfucker, you look at how you look, motherfucker. Just act how you fucking look. Yeah? And it's, if a guy's like softly, you know, very flaccid body and so on, not a good looking guy, it's maybe more tolerable. Oh, that's just him, you know, he just whatever. He doesn't really turn me on, but whatever, you know, I'm with him now. Yeah. But if the guy's good looking, but he's simpish and weak, women will instinctively hate him. Instinctively hate him. So again, the looks thing, this is the whole fucking American thing. Yeah, looks can count for something, but it has to be backed up with personality. It literally has to be. Has to be. Yeah, I've talked about this with like a good friend of mine who's he's basically a model and an actor, and we were talking, and he's talking about some of his like basically fairly disastrous relationships in the past, and I'm thinking, how the fuck can this guy be tolerating this? I look at it going, and the penny dropped. I was like, oh fuck, they hate him because he just should be totally laying the law down, because he could replace them in a day or in a week. Yeah. And they realize, oh, this guy looks good on the outside, that's the shell, but inside it's not caught up with that. So it's interesting, yeah. Yeah, he's flying at the moment. He knows, if he's watching it live, he knows who he is. He's sometimes choosing to lie. He's flying at the moment. Yeah, even me, like, I'm 40 now, I'm looking a bit more, you know, rugged these days. But definitely in my youth, I was almost I was a pretty boy, to be honest, when I was younger. And I didn't do that well, to be honest. It was very variable. The book, The Game, actually made me worse. I read that at 21. It made me a lot fucking worse. I got quite invested in the looks. It wasn't looks maxing, but looks, you know, trying to look really good like a model or something. I got quite invested in that and just didn't really work. You know, I would have been better off, you know, investing in like approach and fucking martial arts and stuff. That male, visceral element, and I eventually did come that eventually comes around to guys who actually doing self-development. Eventually they come into this conclusion: I just need to be the fucking natural beast that I am anyway. I don't need to fucking do any of this other shit. Let's just go into my dirty fucking dogged instincts, right? And that's definitely what worked for me, and that's what works for me continuously in relationships. And yeah, I'm now at a point, 40 years old. There's people say like looks, maxing, age. I'm 5'8", I'm 40, and I'm certainly not a fucking billionaire, dude. I'm not a millionaire, yeah? Not even close, mate. I fucking wish, right? I'm none of these things. We never know. Yeah, the modeling contract from Armani like could be coming through any moment, right? I don't think at 5'8" I'm suddenly going to become 6'8", yeah? Like the height one is one of the biggest myths of all time. That's one of the biggest myths, dude. It really fucking is. It really just fucking is. Let me tell you one about height, right? Let me tell you one about height. There's a few girls I've been with who've been with the guy before me and the guy before that. They were like 6'5". I'm 5'8". And they spontaneously said things to me like, "You're just so much more man than he is." Again, I'm 5'8". So why is that? It's because it's personality, it's character, it's leadership. Yeah. So they don't see it in the same way, like just, oh, he has long limbs, but he's got a mind of a fucking little 12-year-old boy, or he's not fully, you know? So that's another one that's a big falsehood, right? Yeah, so globally, I would basically discount, honestly, basically everything coming from the American manosphere. If you're American, it may have a 30% applicability. But even then, I'm not sure. Like my friend, Paul University, normal guy, he's my sort of height and not a millionaire, in his 20s. He just does approaches, he just goes to speak to girls, chats them up. He's got great personality, confident, and he's just crushing over in America, right? So, you know, I've seen a guy in the field, I've seen him in Europe, he came to Medellin with me. So if you're in the US, go check out his channel. He can actually coach you in the US. I can coach guys who want to travel internationally. So that's why I work with guys wanting to come internationally. Often guys who are looking for a foreign wife, to be honest, like who want, like, they're like, I want to get a real fucking Slavic baddie. I want to go to Serbia, Belgrade. I want to go to Bosnia with Joseph. I want to get it done. Yeah, those are the types of, I want to come to Colombia or Dominican or Brazil. If anyone fancies a Russia mission and is actually willing to, like, who wants to do it as an immersion, I'd fucking jump at the chance to go to Russia to do an immersion. So if anyone wants to do that, let me know. Like really seriously, that would be one where we're going in with a mission. We're going in to get you a wife, mate. We're going in to get you a wife. We're going into enemy territory to get you a fucking wife. So yeah, there's just so much fakery online, and it's really toxic. And if you find yourself getting too invested in this, you're becoming a fucking gollum. You know, you can be a wizard, right, online. I've got remote work, so I work on my laptop, and I have done for 5-6 years full time. And I'm basically a wizard, to be honest. I'm living as a wizard. I mean, how is this not wizardry? I'm in fucking Medellin, Colombia. I'm from Sheffield, UK, and because of the internet, it's allowed me to create my own business. It's allowed me to live anywhere in the fucking world, basically. I travel here, I travel there. I pop up in Turkey, I pop up in fucking Greece. Yeah, I pop up in Dominican Republic. I'm up at the beach, I'm up at the carnival. Yeah, I'm down in Barcelona with my mates. I'm living as a fucking wizard, right? It's because of the internet. I've used it, right? I've learned interesting things as well. It's fascinating things I've learned. Learned a lot of, learned Portuguese, I've learned Serbo-Croat, yeah, using the fucking internet, right? Yeah. I go to a new city, I log in, right, what events are going on? There's a Kazumba thing tonight. Bang, I'm there. Yeah, awesome. The internet, right? I'm living as a fucking wizard. I've got friends who do something similar. What an opportunity. What an opportunity we've got. Yeah, to live a life the likes of which nobody, even kings, didn't used to live like this. That's the opportunity that we've got. And how are we going to use it? scrolling, swiping, looking at TikTok, looking at Instagram, becoming a fucking gollum. Watching the red pill, becoming an absolute gollum. Terrible way to use the internet. Terrible way to use it. You've got a wand in your hand, and instead of using it as a wand to do magic, you're using it as a fucking crack pipe to ruin yourself, to turn you into a little fucking fiendish golem. So, yeah, use the internet to become a wizard, not a fucking golem. Covered a few different topics there tonight. I've had a few, I think I've had 4 coffees today, so I'm quite sensitive, so I think I'm quite wired tonight. But I'm happy with that live. We had some nice, interesting topics there. Thanks for the question, Cal. That was a good question. I always welcome questions from people who if they just want my experience or want a perspective. Even debates. I don't mind having debates. But I don't, stupid comments, I just don't tolerate. I just get them straight off because, yeah, I mean, it's like if people are investing time in the content, it needs to be valuable for them. So this will probably be my last live from Medellin. I'm heading on Saturday. Unless I do one in the next couple of days, unless I get the inspiration to do one, this may be my last live. Next time you see me, I'll be in Belgrade, Serbia, linking up with a few boys down there, and then probably traveling around the Balkans a little bit. I'm looking forward to getting over to the Balkans, most certainly. Yeah, 10 weeks in Medellin, man. 10 fucking weeks. It's another country I can add to my list. I've really figured this place out, I would say. I mean, there's nothing like investigative journalism when you're doing out fucking dating all these girls, doing all this like dozens of cold approaches. Like we're putting up 50 cold approaches a week for like the first month. You know, it's like, it's a whole investigative journalism thing in of itself. So it's been good, it's been good. The Medellin overall, I probably should do a video on it, like in of itself. It's not a place I would want to live, absolutely not. There's real problems here and not what you expect. I would almost be more happy if it was more dangerous. It's not the stuff you expect. Laudela is this area, the middle class area. Oh my goodness me. Zombie nation, dude. These people are zombified, man. It's crazy, it's fucking crazy. So it's 2 dead actually around where I am. And then the culture is it's a strange culture, I've got to be honest. It's a very strange culture. But at the same time, there's a lot of pleasant people. You can have some good banter with people. The girls are attractive. They've got a very nice look to them. I like the girls from the coastal regions I've found, and the girls from Venezuela as well. I don't think I'd date a girl from Medellin. There's enough girls from the coast and Venezuela who are living here, because it's quite a big city, as you can see probably in the background. It's quite a big city, it's quite a commercial centre. But locally, I don't think I'd date a local girl here, really. Fuck me. No, I think I definitely wouldn't actually. You could be dating a 25-year-old woman and you might not realise from 18 to 23 she was a prostitute. And you think, oh no, I definitely know Joseph. Trust me, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. That's the local girls in certain areas as well. But just the overall culture, strange, man, really strange, really strange. That said, the cityscape is one of the cityscape. You can't. I mean, you can see it in the background there. It doesn't really do it justice. But that's everywhere. There's mountains all around. The cityscape is stunning, stunning. I've travelled around it at night on a bus. That's probably the best night out of the last 5 or 6 years. That one night, honest to God, was worth this entire 10 weeks. That one night. I went on this bus tour with a bunch of nutters, the Colombian nutters, and a girl that I met. 6 hours going all the way around from 12 till 6 a.m. Absolutely insane. And that one night out was worth the entire trip. I thought it was going to get better, but that was the peak. That was week 1, that was the peak. Other things that are good as well, I really like some of the public facilities. There's a really good public facility there's a running track, swimming pool, outdoor gym, all public, free of charge. I mean, that's just amazing. I've been going down to the track every week, and I've really made some progress on the track. I'm pacing up and down now. I do a 1600 meter I'll do the 1500 meters quick. That's my warm up, but it's kind of training. I'll do that quick. And then after that, I'll do sprints. So I think it's either like 8, 60, 70 meters, 8 times 60, 70 meters, or I do Monday I did 4 times 70 meters, and then I did 2 times 150. So going about 80% pace. Really good for your cardio, man. So good for your cardio. And just feeling, for me, running is just the best. It's just the best. It's the one I enjoy the most. I hate the gym anyway, just to have a bit of muscle on my frame, but the one I enjoy really is just to run, man. Just to fucking run. So the fact I've got access to a really nice track in a beautiful area, that has really made this trip, to be honest. I think this is the fittest I've been for 6 or 7 years. Yeah, I was getting fit in Dominican. Now I'm really feeling fit. So that's been good. Cost of living is very cheap. Cost of living wise, it's one of the best offers going. I've lived like a fucking king out here, and I've spent probably $2,000 maybe in the last 10 weeks maximum. But I'm going out to eat, like I'm living in premium apartments in the best area of the city. I'm going out to eat every fucking day. I'm doing whatever I want every single day. It's cost me fuck all basically. So cost of living wise, it's really good. But I just couldn't live here, honestly, because of the culture and because of the mentality of the people. There's not enough there for me. If I come back to Colombia, I'll go to Bogota and I'll go to the north, Barranquilla. There's a place called Choco as well, which ironically is where most of the black people in Colombia live. They live in a place called Choco. I think it's where they also produce chocolate as well. So it's just this weird, there's a lot of chocolate there. But I like the people from there that I've met. I really like them. They're notably different. It's more Caribbean regions. They're notably different to Medellin. You know, you think the deep history of this place goes before Pablo Escobar. It goes way before that. It starts off with the conquistadors replacing 90% of the male population in this area, right? So, yeah, you talk about genocide. Like, this area was totally genocided by the Spanish, apart from the women. So what a rapacious group of people, right? Yeah, there's like human sacrifices and stuff around here. So I don't know. I think there's deep things in the mentality here that are just so deeply fucked. I've discussed this with my neighbor as well. He's American. He's been here 5 years. He knows it much better than I do, but everything I think, he just completely confirms that when I ask him about it. So I could definitely not live here. If I come back, I'll bring a girlfriend back, or maybe could come and see one of the Venezuelan girls, maybe, but I'll probably come back with them. I'd come back with a Dominican girlfriend. It's 2 hours from Santo Domingo. It's a great break. The weather's beautiful. It's actually very safe around this area as well. So I can't complain. I've had a good time, but I'm definitely ready to leave. And I was curious. I did a lot of research when I came here. The first month I had such a good time. I really thought, shit, this is making me reconsider, should I live here? Absolutely no way. No way in hell. So it's interesting how your mind can change and shift so much. You need to give yourself a couple of months. First month is a honeymoon period. You need a couple of months to really start to see things. So yeah, that's my review of Medellin. I could do it on a separate video. There's lots of other things I'm going to do on the channel apart from just date breakdowns and cold approach. I'm going to do a book review. That's going to be coming up probably later in the year. I'll start doing some really in-depth book reviews. But yeah, in the meantime, you've got all the cold approach stuff. You've heard about the immersion. If you are struggling and you want to convert to the church of cold approach, no, that's blasphemous, but you want to actually, meet women in the flesh, you think you'd be maybe a good fit to come and work with me. The link's in the description. You can find out more about the service. You can see the testimonials from the guys whose lives it's changed. It's something I'm passionate about because it changes fucking lives. It's changed my life. It's changed loads of guys' lives. My child will be born as a result of cold approach. There's no one pregnant yet, but it will be born as a result of cold approach. It's pretty fucking cool, man. It's pretty fucking cool. And people just don't know. It's like you've got, if you just ignore all of the gollum bullshit on the internet and you just come across this channel, and you decide, right, I want to go and do some cold approach, I want to develop myself, it's an open goal because your competition has given up. Your competition has quit, it's tapped out. So we'll leave things there for today, boys. I'm going to finish off reading the book. It's the Ernst Younger book I'm reading at the moment. What's it called? It's about World War One. He was a German war hero in World War One. It's a fucking amazing book. That's definitely one. It was recommended by someone I really respect. It's almost a borderline banned book, to be honest, because it goes into so much depth about the nature of life, of like the warrior life, without glamorizing it at all. It's actually a horrific book in some respects, but it's an amazing one as well. So that's how I'm going to spend this evening. Ernst Younger. It's something Steel or something. I don't know what it is. Death and Steel or something. That's what it's called. So we'll leave things there. Thank you for joining. It looks like we've got maybe 1 or 2 new viewers. Feel free to subscribe as well. We can get myself. I'm trying to get up to 1,000 probably by Christmas. I think 1,000 subs will be good. It helps me because there'll become a point next year where I want to start to speak to other adjacent channels in adjacent mail and fitness and maybe even literature philosophy spaces. And if I've got over 1K subs, that actually will help me. At the moment, it feels a bit strange to reach out for someone with when I'm still at 700 subs, even though I've already had guys coming in to be coached by me when I had 400 subscribers. So the coaching side is fine, but actually reaching out to others, I want to get over 1,000 for that. So yeah, feel free to subscribe. That definitely helps me. Take it easy, boys. I'll catch you in the next one.